What is the absolute fastest, yeah, we are definitely not going to be friends moment you've ever experienced with someone? Story 1. Wife and I had recently moved to a new city. We helped one of her work colleague and spouse move. I think it was most of a Saturday, like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Load the truck, follow the truck, unload the truck. They said, thanks, and we left. They then had a housewarming party where they invited family and other work friends, but not us. We were the only people that helped them move. Not their family. Not the other work friends. Just us. Story 2. My husband and I did a couple's date with another couple. We went to a cafe and played a board game since we all had that in common. She was nice but he was kind of abrasive. Towards the end of the game, my husband gets a winning setup against the other guy. But other guy said, if you take that move this friendship is over. We thought he was joking. He wasn't. The wife sighed. I felt so bad for her. I'm sure he does this frequently. My husband made his move and won the game. Other guy stormed out. Wife apologized. We told her it was very nice meeting her and we had a good time hanging out with her. Never contacted them again. Story 3. My friend was traveling in the same country my family lives in. I was going at the same time because my dad is sick. She just wanted to party the whole time, and when I said I came there to spend time with my mom and dad she replied, you just need to accept that your dad is going to die. Sent her packing from my parents' home the next morning. We aren't friends anymore and I'm happier for it. Story 4. I worked with a guy for a couple of years. I helped him move, and other friendly things. Once I asked him for help on an office task and he refused. So I said I have helped you before and he said, but what have you done for me lately, so that was the end of that. Story 5. Took a gun out of his closet and pointed at me because he thought it was funny. Afterwards he checked and discovered it was loaded. Story 6. A buddy of mine introduced me to another friend of his and we went out to a couple of bars and thought we had a fun night. When we dropped him off at his house he sucker punched me and I ended up with a concussion. He misheard something I actually said for something else and had to punch me because I disrespected him. My buddy tried defending him and ended up cutting ties with both of them. We were in our mid-30s/early 40s by the way. Edit for the story. This was early 2011 after the financial crisis and the guy hadn't worked in a while and him and his wife were fighting about money and were close to losing their house etc. When it came time to pay the tab he was trying to figure out his portion and I said, I got you buddy, don't worry about, and tossed his card back to him, he was across the table, and paid the bill for everyone. That was it. I apparently made him feel like so much less of a man in that moment that he was fuming in the 10-minute drive home in the back seat to the point that he sucker punched me as soon as we got out of the car. I guess mistook is a better word than misheard. I didn't press charges, didn't want to deal with it. Story 7. Met up with friends at an area full of bars. They brought along a guy they knew from uni. I met him, shook his hand, all seemed fine. Then, as we were walking to a bar, he noticed a cute girl. As we walked by, he said something to the girl. The girl ignored him. The guy was incensed. He started shouting insults and calling the girl every nasty name he could muster. I told my friends that I would not be staying with them if he was there. Absolutely not. I walked away and went home. I got an apology text from the one guy who was friends with him. He never brought that guy around again. Story 8. I met a girl on a friendship meetup app and within 2 minutes of hanging out she started bragging about how much money her fiancé earns, how nice their cars are, how much money they have saved and how she recently bought a cheap purse £4.600, all whilst asking 0 questions about my life. She then sent me videos of her spraying her indoor cats with a hose and thought it was funny that they were hissing and scared. I already wasn't feeling her friendship and then that solidified it for me. Story 9. Coworker said something about liking to date married men. I'm just polite enough to believe she meant men who had previously been married. She clarified, no, she meant actual currently married men. I'm a married woman, so yeah. She later complained that I never gave her a chance. Bitch, what? You had a chance, you opened your mouth and said the equivalent of I'm a terrible person and you can't trust me. Why the fuck would I be friends with you after that? Boggles my damn mind. Story 10. Coworker said something about liking to date married men. I'm just polite enough to believe she meant men who had previously been married. She clarified, no, she meant actual currently married men. I'm a married woman, so yeah. She later complained that I never gave her a chance. Bitch, what? You had a chance, you opened your mouth and said the equivalent of I'm a terrible person and you can't trust me. Why the fuck would I be friends with you after that? Boggles my damn mind. Story 11. A mom at swim lessons talking about having a third kid. She said her husband didn't want one but she did and therefore it was going to happen. This was after she talked mad shit about how difficult her other 2 kids are, especially her daughter with autism. Big no from me, dog. Story 12. I was semi-seeing a girl in college. She really hated her roommate because the roommate had a boyfriend, which was totally fair because well, yeah, it can be annoying. Then she told me, yeah, so when she goes away for a weekend I clean the toilet with her toothbrush. I slowly backed up, grabbed my toothbrush, and started distancing myself from her real quick. Story 13. It was literally my best friend from 6th grade all the way up to our first year of college. Dude was like my brother and I can't believe I never knew it. So he had the same girlfriend throughout high school. And I'd say she was a good friend too. We all went to Indianapolis together for college. One night while he is at work, her and I are just chilling like we've done many times before. Then she lifts her shirt. Bruises all over her stomach. He beats me. I was immediately filled with rage to the point I punched the refrigerator. Turns out, she always thought I knew and that I'd hurt her too if she said anything. It broke my heart to hear that she was scared of me because I was his friend. Called a buddy from back home, bro drove 4 hours in the middle of the night. I distracted my friend the following morning while she and my other buddy packed her things in his truck and he took off. She waits in a neighboring apartment and I pick her up and drive her straight to her mom's house. One thing that I remember was that after maybe 6 months of being away from him, she was excited because she got her period. Apparently he was very controlling about her diet and she had some wild hormonal imbalance. But we hung out all the time for a while and if her stepdad wasn't feeding her, me or my mom was. This was 17 years ago. I've not been his friend since. She has been with the same new guy for over a decade now and they're married with a son. Ran into her and her mom a month ago at the grocery store and she's still doing good. Story 14. One of my great friend's girlfriend. There was multiple things that upset me but the final straw for me was when she came home from work, we all rented a house together, and started saying some creep scared the shit out of her at work. She starts going into this story how she is the only one in the office, she thought she was alone, there's a knock on the door and this creepy looking man came in speaking Spanish. Saying she freaked out, screamed and kicked them out of the building. She really went into detail on how creepy this guy was and how she was afraid she was going to be attacked and all this stuff. After we asked more questions, basically her company's janitor came into the offices and was trying to do his job and she freaked out calling him a creep and portraying him as some malicious weirdo, just a simple hard-working dude trying to do his job.